July 20th, 1969. Two astronauts are hurtling toward the surface of the moon inside a fragile metal shell, attempting something no human has ever done. As they descend, the navigation computer suddenly flashes a warning. The numbers 1202 light up the cockpit, quickly followed by a 1201 code. These codes mean the lunar module's onboard computer is experiencing a data overload. Right when it needs to be calculating the critical landing trajectory, it cannot process the incoming information fast enough. To make matters worse, Neil Armstrong looks out his window and sees where this overloaded computer is taking them. The automated system is guiding the module directly toward a massive crater surrounded by boulders the size of cars. Setting down in that rocky field would crush the spacecraft's landing gear and strand the crew on the moon. They have seconds to decide: abort the mission and head back to orbit, or attempt a highly dangerous manual override. Armstrong makes a split-second decision. He disables the automated descent program and begins flying the Eagle manually to find a safer spot. But skimming across the lunar surface in search of smooth ground has an immediate consequence. The spacecraft is now burning through its descent fuel much faster than the mission profile allowed. Back on Earth, Mission Control watches the telemetry data. The flight controllers sit in tense silence as the fuel drops past the 60-second mark. The module's vertical fuel gauge is rapidly depleting. When Houston radios up the 30 seconds warning, it means Armstrong has exactly that long to land, or the descent engine will automatically cut out, dropping them out of the sky. In those final moments, the exhaust from the descent engine kicks up a blinding sheet of fine lunar dust. Armstrong completely loses his visual reference to the ground, forced to feel his way down. The blue contact light finally illuminates. The Eagle touches down so gently that the module's footpads barely press into the lunar surface, settling into the dust by only an inch or two. When Armstrong radios, "Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed," the suffocating tension in Mission Control instantly breaks. They have survived in mere fatal crisis to pull off a successful landing. The chaos of those flashing alarms and the desperate search for fuel stand in sharp contrast to what happens next. A few hours later, the astronauts step out into the silent, peaceful reality of the lunar surface. They quickly notice the bizarre texture of the alien ground beneath them. The soil is incredibly fine, like powdered charcoal, adhering to their boots in thin layers but remaining surprisingly cohesive. Moving around in 1/6 gravity proves easier than anticipated. To maintain their forward stability, they adapt their walk into a smooth, bounding stride, resembling a slow-motion kangaroo hop across the gray landscape. This surreal exploration is suddenly interrupted by a static-filled phone call. The President of the United States dials directly into the lunar module from the Oval Office to congratulate them. To the millions watching the broadcast at home, the scene looks entirely serene. That triumphant, peaceful imagery masks the lethal danger the two men had narrowly survived just hours prior. This line graph tracks the astronauts' heart rate, spiking sharply to 160 beats per minute. Houston clearly sees the hidden physical toll. This spike comes from raw labor, Armstrong intensely hauling heavy sample boxes and deploying science experiments in a bulky suit. Ending the spacewalk is a messy, pragmatic affair. To save weight and make enough room to sleep inside the cramped cabin, they actually toss their heavy, depleted life support backpacks straight out the hatch onto the lunar surface. When the hatch finally closes, we are left with the overarching view of the mission, a tiny metal shelter sitting on a desolate rock, looking back at a distant home. We often think of spaceflight as being a triumph of perfect engineering, but Apollo 11 succeeded through physical endurance, human instinct, and a razor-thin 30-second margin of error.